Guess who's back? Yeah. So, I don't know. They gave me a new phone, but it doesn't seem to be working yet anyway. So I've gone back to the old one. Yeah, I feel like I'm having a good week this week. I'm still on like an hour a morning bioenergetics and belly and bow and arch, which is basically working with the gut and with the back. And this combination I find very strong because these are the two principal areas of holding in the body. So, I'm really into it at the minute. And this is a live Q&A, so if anyone's got a question, you just go for it. Hopefully I think the picture quality isn't as good with this phone, but anyway. At least it doesn't fuck up straight away. So, yeah. That's kind of handy. I'm sure, hopefully my new one gets sorted out soon, and I'm trying to get in touch with a friend to get a 4HD camera so I can do something a little bit more professionally. Haven't quite done that yet. Anyway, just leaving this phone to try and fix itself. So, yeah, I had a great bioenergetics workshop at the weekend that I really enjoyed running in Brighton. And, yo, Luigi, the main man. And, I hadn't done a whole day in Brighton. I say a whole day, it's like 6 hours. And so it was a little bit of a new thing, and just to see, will people turn up and is there energy? And I had 10 people, and that was great. I was really chuffed with that, and a lot of young guys now, a lot of guys in their 30s getting interested in bioenergetics. So we did quite a couple of really quite meaty sessions, and I think people start to experience the power of bioenergetics, and also it takes a little while to process afterwards. It's really like very quick, direct therapy, because all the crap is held in the body, and we're just going straight in there. So it's quite full on, and it suits people who like intense experience or who want change quickly. Basically, they don't want to mess around. They don't want to fuck about. They really want to get some positive change going in their life quick. Because you can start doing a lot of therapies from the level of the mind and the narratives about what's happened to us in life and where we've got caught up, and that's all good. There's nothing wrong with that. But if there are impressions in the body, and for pretty much any normal level of trauma or conditioning, there will be impressions in the body. You have to get those out. They're not just going to disappear because you create a more positive self-image. That's not a realistic expectation. So I think bio will come. That's my prediction. Bioenergetics is coming, basically. So I'm really, really up for it. I'm really up for it, and I'm just keep on going, putting my stuff out, and I see who bites. I'm up to, 1050, 1060 subscribers now, which I'm chuffed about. Hey Luigi, is the dream onslaught a common effect of bio? We all have different ways to process. I'd say it's fairly common. What you got to understand is, or what you probably do understand, but what's important to grasp is, there will be psychological content that's repressed inside your body that's trying to come out, and it's coming out via dreams. For some people it comes out in healing crises, spots on the face, headaches, the bloodstream getting flooded a little bit or overloaded with toxins because the cells are dumping crap because you're clearing it out of your body. For other people it's an intense emotional roller coaster where suddenly they're having much more intense emotional reactions to normal stuff going on in their life. And for some people it will be dreams or a mixture of these things or something else. But essentially the dreams are a way to try and get you conscious of stuff. I wriggled awake Sunday night and wasn't even under threat in the dream. Yeah, I don't know. If you want to share more about the dream, could go for it, or anything you think it symbolises or represents. Before I got into therapy back in my 30s, I would have such an intensity of emotional stuff held inside of me. I had regularly these kind of astral experience dreams. And what that is, I would go to sleep, and it would usually happen quite quickly after I dropped off. I would wake up again, but I would be waking up in a kind of vibrating body. It was weird as fuck, kind of exciting in a way, but I'm pretty sure that was because there was so much trauma trying to move in my system. And my mind was so like a fucking prison guard, keeping it all in, not letting it get to my conscious experience. That it just had to find a way out. And once that controlling mind was off guard, once it had gone on for a nightly tea break, out it would come. And in such extreme levels, my body would literally wake up in a different kind of space. Really bizarre shit. And when I started to do therapy, it started to clear. But when I started to work with my body and get the stuff out, then it started to clear. So I really came to understand dreams and, extreme astral experiences, even Kundalini experiences, all sorts of stuff for guys like this I work with, as essentially, a way of clearing trauma, a way of clearing conditioning, trying to bring us closer to our natural self, simple as that. So all of this stuff that goes on during biohealing crises, dreams, emotional roller coaster, whatever, to me is a symptom of the body trying to offload, We don't have to re-experience every traumatic event, but the patterns have to move out of the muscle system, and it does create some level of disturbance. A couple of guys who were on the workshop at the weekend, on Sunday, wrote to me saying, wow, I'm having such an intense fucking Monday, And, then something starts to clear, and they're much better inside. There are therapies out there which will claim to just take all your problems away and there's no, drama. You can go and spend money doing them if you want. You can message me and tell me if it does something. When I started to do therapy, what I wanted was change quick, and that's what I was looking for. And that's what I found, because that's what I was looking for. And so mostly, I think, people who are looking for that, they find stuff like I'm doing, which is just working with stuff which I consider personally to be very effective. I don't really care if, about qualifications and stuff, which sounds like a blasé thing to say, but the reality is, the civilization we live in promotes people who are extremely mind-centered, the kind of academic people who can, get qualifications and PhDs and stuff, but they probably don't really feel so much in their body. It's a bit of a crazy system. We're living in primitive times. Hey, Howell. I'm not sure. I know a couple of Howells. I'm not sure which one you are, but hey, anyway, man. I stopped doing it every day, felt it was going too fast, just phone wrote, yeah, sure, man. You have to follow your intuition, You have to follow your intuition. If something's stirring up more material than you can easily process, then it's good to lay off a little bit. But it's good to know that when you want it, you can, okay, I can really get into something now. I've definitely hit points in my life where I felt like I'd do anything to fucking change. On one of those, I drank a big cocktail of Iboga, a West African shamanic plant. That was back in 1999. I'd been brewing the thing. It was supposed to brew for 7 days, and after 5 days, I was in some massive crisis about some woman. I can't remember what it was now. Well, I know that. Drama, I want her, she's not interested kind of thing. Woke up at 4 a.m. and thought, fuck it, I'm just going to drink it, That was me out of it for 36 hours. But it's changed, it created change. Can't complain there. How? Yes, okay, Howell, yeah, I remember you. You've been writing a book. Yeah, cool, nice, man. Nice for tuning in. Nice to have friends tuning in. I'm hoping with these Q&As to kind of stabilise on Tuesday evenings, because I think it's easier for people to remember, and that's like a kind of mostly an easier day for me to do. Next week I'm in Valencia on Tuesday evening, but I think if I got Wi-Fi I can do it. Hopefully. Yeah, and if there's demand I might go for 2 a week or something, but I haven't been getting a lot of feedback about good times or stuff, so good times to do it, so I'm just going to plug on with that and definitely try and do 1 a week at least. Yeah. What am I excited about? Next week I got in a week and a half's time I got another 1-day bioenergetics workshop in London. I've still got a few places on that if anyone's interested to come up for the day. Yeah, we'll go for it, You'll get your money worth. Is that Italy? No, it's Spain. Valencia's in Spain, man. Kind of, it's on the Mediterranean coast, so it's facing Italy. It's about halfway down the Med coast above Alicante. It's a great place, Valencia. I went there a few times a few years ago, and I spent a summer in Barcelona when I was like 22 or 23, and that was the most awesome fucking place in those days. But they had the Olympics and all the big corporate money got involved and fucked it all up, if you ask me. Always like that when you remember somewhere from the old days. But anyway, no, Valencia I really like now, you know, so that's the third biggest city in Spain, and it's got a lot of character to it, you know. It's not so great to go to yet another European capital with all the same shops all over the place and the same old corporate blah blah. I'm not against corporations at all, actually. I'm quite into corporations in some ways, in the sense that you know, I mean, it's a bit political, but like what I see happening is that you know, the minute it's kind of traditionally it's corporations versus banks versus governments versus religion. You know, they're the four big players I see most places around the world, trying to kind of jostle for dominance. Who's got control of people? You know, and that's how it is. And I think religion's fading away a little bit in the West, and I think money and governments will go. I think they will go. Basically, I think these cryptocurrencies, once Amazon starts to get one, once Google starts to get one, that's going to be bye-bye banks. They're not going to be able to control money anymore. We're going to have global currency. And if the governments aren't running money, who's going to give a fuck what governments think about things, basically? And they're starting to wake up to that, I think. If you look at what's going on a little bit in the media, they're really starting to get into Facebook or get into Google. They're seeing the threat a bit too late. I'm personally amazed. I'm personally amazed at the level of change and the lack of resistance from government, because they just don't seem to realise, or banking, either they got a card up their sleeve somewhere where they can really fuck Google and Facebook and Amazon over, or they've just missed it, you know. Anyway, yeah, you can ban these things, but it doesn't really work because people just adopt it, and then you have to rescind the ban and go back. And the Americans ain't stupid, the banks ain't stupid either. You know, J.P. Morgan's, they go out, Goldman Sachs in particular, and try and find every intelligent guy they can, every intelligent woman they can, and get them on board, because they want to know what's going to happen. I have a nephew, Leo, who I don't know so well. It's slightly from my brother. I won't go into the whole story, but he's headhunted. You know, he's brilliantly intelligent mind, and he's headhunted by all these banks because they want someone who can predict the future. That's what they're looking for, super intelligent guys. So we see what happens, but I think within 5 years, corporations will have increased their power base to something like 70-80%, and banks will be pretty much on the way out, and governments will be vastly reduced in what they can do. You know, it's coming to that point. It's like a big wrestling match, boxing match. Anyway, you know, that's kind of interesting to watch, but I don't read mass media very much. You know, I'm on YouTube more. Anyway, therapy. What I'm also very excited about is I feel like I finally got my 3-day intensive together. I've been wanting this for some time, and spiritual boot camp is coming. And basically that is like, you know, 3 intense days when you can really get into it. And I'm getting the format clearer in my head. It's coming at the end of June, but we have early morning bioenergetics for an hour. Anyway, yeah, we're moving off politics now. I'm trying to move off politics. And early morning bioenergetics for an hour to really get your energy moving, probably the belly activation, and then some breakfast, and then some level of theoretical discussion, you know, because it is useful to transmit stuff about the psyche, about the mind, how it's all working, useful social therapy, not complex Freudian, Jungian stuff, but useful social therapy, and then more bioenergetics before lunch. And then in the afternoons, what I'm really happy with, we'll probably have a sharing for a bit, which is how I'm doing in the workshop. And then individuals have a chance to get up in front of the others and get some level of therapeutic support, one-to-one support in front of others. It's a powerful way of working that a friend of mine uses a lot, and I want to integrate it into this 3-day intensive. So if it's not all just group process, that's the backbone, but you also have time to really say, you know, and see each other getting up and saying, hey, I've got an issue with this. You know, initially guys will not do this, but once you start to get open, you know, men and women, then it's like, hey, I want to give it up. I want to give it up. You know, I know this part of my life is not working, and I want to talk about it and get some resolution. You know, people who are locked in nice guy mode, people who are locked in tough guy mode, whether you're man or woman, for either of those, you know. So I'm really looking forward to spiritual boot camp and getting that out there. And then we're going to do another one in February, and ideally I'd love to get it so together I could take it out into Europe and really push it out there, because I think there's a lot of, actually in the background, a lot of demand. I'm starting to connect up with a lot of, get younger guys come to my stuff who are saying, you know, we're really looking for stuff to do in Europe. You know, some guys I met recently, they've all gone off to, been out in Miami doing workshops. It's like, fucking hell, you have to go that far to do stuff, you know. So I want to get stuff really together in Britain and Europe where we can really get, people can come together in groups, you know, 20, 30, 40 at a time and really clear stuff out so that you can get as clear as you can. Because I think the next revolution is a revolution of the individual. You know, I don't believe in this whole New Age change the world thing. It's very sweet. Someone just sent me this nice song by this guy, Nick Morel, something like that, I can't remember, but it's a sweet song about, and it's got a typical music video, lots of people of different colour, all trying to change the world and stuff, but, you know, it ain't gonna fucking work in my opinion. It's what the really deeper message on a very, very deeper level as you can get is individuals need to step up, face themselves, you know, we got to face ourselves where we're afraid and step up, and that's the real deeper message. And I could go into some sort of theoretical stuff about that, but it's a bit complicated and you don't need it anyway. That is what I see. I was listening to Jordan Peterson and he said something very similar. And I thought, yeah, that's totally what I believe, you know. This generation is coming. It's not about group behaviour to change the world. That's finished. That was, you know, up to maybe 2015. That's over. It's not about group behaviour. It's about the individual finding their authentic strength. And then, you know, the world change happens naturally. Without all this authority tripping and drama that goes on, the world just changes naturally. So that's my kind of soapbox that I'm on at the moment. You know, it's really not about joining up with a group and all getting together to try and change something, because mostly what people are doing is just objecting to, they're fighting their own shadows, you know. They're fighting their own shadows. They're projecting their shadow out into the world and trying to change it out there. And it's bullshit. It looks nice. And I also go to festivals where everyone does yoga and drinks smoothies and tries to, you know, sit around going to make the world better, and it's all okay, but I think it's over that generation now. It's time for the individual to get much stronger and look inside what's going on, because there's a strength that comes not from being a tough guy. There's a strength that comes from inner clarity, self-awareness. You know, that you've gone inside and you're progressively looking, creates a strength in you. And you can change stuff around you naturally without you having to do very much. This I'm learning myself. So I guess bio helps with chronic anxiety. Yes, absolutely. Anxiety, social anxiety, you know, this stuff is generally rooted in the gut. You know, and as we go in there with this belly activation, bit by bit, it will start to shift. You know, the patterns of withdrawing, you know, the patterns of avoidance will start to shift. You will feel more naturally okay just to go and approach and be with people you want to be with in situations where, you know, I used to have this thing. Why did I have this thing with my ex-girlfriend who always used to point it out to me, like going to car parks and having to get the ticket because I was really afraid some guy in a uniform would come and get me or something, you know. And it was stuff like this starts to change. It's not that you start thieving things or not paying car parks, but you just feel okay as you are, and it's like a green light inside of you when you work with the belly. You take the anxiety out and you just feel okay as you are. Nowadays, I don't mind fuck about stuff so much. Sometimes I have to ring people up in my role and give them a load of news they don't want to hear. You know, they've applied to do something, they can't do it or whatever. You know, I'm the guy that has to ring them up, and I just straight with them, and I'm just share my own thing about it as well. You know, I'm sorry to have to tell you this, and it's because of this, and it's because of this, and I do it as good as I can. But, you know, I feel okay with it. Or going into situations where before I would feel, you know, kind of like anxious, you know, to ring up and have to change something. And I just get on the phone and I just say, look, this has happened and this has happened, and now I need to change it. And I apologise, but it's all I can do, you know, and everything pretty much flows smooth. You know, I'm learning better things myself. I work on myself all the time. You know, there's no end point, you know, that I know of. And I've listened to a few enlightened teachers in my time say the same thing. Jibril, hey, hi Dev, hi. Feel free to ask a question, man, if you got any questions, or a lady, or miss, or mister. Just go for it. But chronic anxiety, I actually want to get in. I've been treating depression more recently, and I want to get into anxiety more because a lot of people have got it. And I'm planning a kind of semi-clinical thing with my ex-girlfriend actually for the autumn, probably more in depression, but maybe both. But I want to get into really treating anxiety soon. That's a project I want to get into. Sorry, someone sent me a message. I forgot to put my phone on silent before I did this. It's changing phones. But yeah, because I think anxiety is something that really, anxiety and depression, they're like, one is a kind of damping down of the gut level feelings for depression, and anxiety is like a kind of over ramping it up, kind of chewing on the adrenaline a bit to the point where you get all jittery. My background was much more anxiety than depression. And so I'm looking at ways to start to really get into this kind of low level, essentially mental health conditions, I mean, not, at the level where maybe you're on basic medication or all of it. I used to have absolute chronic anxiety of the charts. Managed to clear it though. Okay, cool. I'm not sure what of the charts, anxiety of the charts, I don't know. When you type fast, I know autocorrect is a bit of a drama. Off the charts. Okay, really, really heavy anxiety. How did you clear it, Gibber? I'd be interested to hear that. Behavioral therapy was always the standard approach. You're afraid of like cats. Okay, stand 20 foot away from the cat. Now one step closer, one step closer. Week 6, now we're going to touch the cat. It slowly can work. But I'm also working at the body and working in the gut is really the root somewhere in the body of anxiety. I'm a world authority of it. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I had phenomenal levels of anxiety in my time. I was utterly shy as a kid, particularly if any women I was remotely attracted to. I would give them a wide berth and just fantasize about them later. That was my approach. Not really very satisfying. But slowly over time, and it's facing the demons. It's facing the demons. It's the journey of the hero. At the end of the day, the journey of the hero. We're going to find a safe way to progressively face our demons, and then we're going to move on in life. That's how I see it. So that's the work I'm busy with, and busy bringing it out into the world and trying to get people turned on to it. Tried loads of things, Zen karate, meditation, these things worked okay, but the best thing was cold showers. Okay, so cold showers work with the anxiety. That's cool. Yeah, I'm a cold shower fan myself. 18 months now without a hot shower. Sometimes I'm travelling and it's not as cold as I would like, But people, I guess, in hotels or whatever, they're not used to anyone saying, look, the shower's not cold enough, One guy was going to cancel an Airbnb thing. He said, look, the boiler's broken down. It was the middle of winter and there's no hot water. I said, don't even worry about it. Give me a little discount. I don't use hot water anyway. Cold showers are awesome. It does something, but I understood it was more for the immune system. But if it's working for anxiety, that's great. And deep breathing, sure. I mean, breathing is the thing. Once you can get that breath going down into your belly, a lot of stuff is going to start to move. I've been on about this a lot, but this belly thing is really, really something. It's like when you can get this center down here active and feeling into it, your whole fucking life is going to change. All the other books on healing you've got, you can give them to Oxfam, man. You can give them to charity, because you're not going to need that stuff. 90% of other healing strategies, all of this stuff that we go to our mind to try and work out how to heal myself, it's all coming out of the fact that you're not in the belly. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. Yeah, I get anxious because I have an experience of lacking sympathy and being unforgiving. I have not done this yet. What will they say later, etc. Yeah. Well, that's an anxiety to act sometimes because of sometimes in childhood we get sometimes, I mean, pretty much all the fucking time we're going to be, either put down a lot or kind of made to jump through hoops of good behaviour to get some reward from the parents. All this stuff. Crazy shit that our parents used to do. I was brought up in the 60s. And it's like it is tough. It takes time to overcome this stuff. The belly is the most direct way I know. Otherwise, behavioural stuff. What I like is where I live at Osho Lila, it's a very supportive environment. So you can get up on stage at some event and just go for it, and people will clap. It wouldn't matter how crap you were; they will just clap. And sometimes you really need that. Just to start to take first steps and come out of it, because we come from a very critical place, and I think it's better now. My ex-girlfriend had a couple of teenage kids, and when I would see them at school, they would pick them up from there. They would be like, their friends were much more supportive than I remembered growing up in Essex in the 70s. It was like brutal, man. It was every man for himself, and you hammered everybody else, and that's just what you did. I wasn't very good at that part of it, but yeah. you know, and it's a slow thing, because the thing is, we have to get over blaming. You know, this is the core thing which will change the psyche or change the world. Not allowed to blame anymore. And that was when, then you have to start to take responsibility for everything, and then you can create change, you know. So, I guess I still have some residual social anxiety, can already feel a difference with bioenergetics. Can really feel my belly now. Yeah, man, that's it. That's it, you know. Once we've got that gut feelings slowly and progressively, we just feel okay, you know. It's curious, you know. I don't mind fuck anything. I used to kind of, I've got something coming up that I've got to go and do, or make a presentation, or run a workshop, or go and talk to someone about something, and I'm mentally kind of working out all the stuff that could possibly go on and how I'm going to deal with it, drive myself half crazy. And now I just feel much more confident just to walk in there. I know that resistance feeling of avoiding the attractive girl. Maybe not today. Go home and plan for the next encounter. Yeah, you know, that's the thing. You know, it's like, and the trouble is, of course, fortune favours the brave. You know, and somewhere we have to just get in there and keep on trying. You know. You know, that's all I know. That the world is kind of, you know, somewhere underneath it all. It's not just this thing that we see it to be. It's a learning environment for the soul, or a learning environment for the individual at a very deep level. You know, we all have stuff, and it will manifest in the world, and we have to find a way of getting through it. You know, of getting clear and clearing it out. And that is the deeper meaning of life for me. And that's why I love working as a therapist, going deeper myself, and also helping other people to do the same. To come through blocks, you know, we do sometimes really need support. We can't do it just on our own. So that's when you need a bit of therapy or workshop leader. For sure. Yeah, you know, I lived far too long in fantasies with women, far too long, you know. I actually did a video earlier today about understanding sexual dynamics, because it's something, because I get a lot of young guys in particular, young women as well, but predominantly young men in their 20s and 30s on my YouTube channel. They have a lot of questions about women and partners, and a lot of the time what it is, the people that we most attracted to embody a quality we don't think we can give ourselves, you know. So that's something very useful to look at, you know, that I wish someone had told me that when I was younger. I don't know if it would have changed anything, but maybe it would have changed something. Anyway, if you're out there and sitting on a question, fortune favours the brave. So, you know, don't feel pushed. But if you're like, yes, no, dare I put it out? Because what I notice is not so many people always tune in, but then, you know, 100 people will watch it in the next couple of days. So, yes, you know, if you put a question out, other people will see it. You are taking a risk. So, you know, but feel free to go for it. Like I say, fortune does favour the brave somewhere. It's a motherfucker, you know. I used to think, you know, I just hated all those alpha male guys, you know. But the trouble is, you have to make friends somewhere with that side of yourself, not to be locked in it, but you have to make friends with somewhere, you know. Life is a challenge, and that's good. And what I also learned was, after the age of 40 and after the age of 50, you need more challenge, not less. Not sitting up in front of a TV with your remote control. You need more challenge. The physical challenge gets harder. You know, I don't do so much physical challenge now. I did a 10k run about a year ago, and I learned from it. You know, it's kind of spontaneous. I woke up feeling a bit of a mess and thought, fuck it, I'm just going to go and run, and just kept going to 10k. But, you know, it knackered my leg a bit, and my leg was already a bit knackered. And I learned, you know, you don't need to keep pushing yourself physically. You know, it's more like the stuff like the bioenergetics. There's a push, but it's not really battering you in the way that running or endless gym stuff does in your 50s or 60s, you know. It's more like you get deeper inside yourself. But constant challenge is a key. Could you tell us a bit about your journey with bioenergetics, how you developed after a month, 6 months, a year? I mean, I was a little bit different, because I decided at the age of about 38, I needed to fucking change big time. My life was a mess, and I was casting around for therapy. I ended up at Osho University in Holland, and doing very intense group process work there. And that was included some level of bioenergetics. It wasn't the main component. There was a lot of screaming and shouting and primal experiential therapy, a lot of sex and stuff. And then you have to give each other feedback and after sex, you know. So with me, the bioenergetics was mixed in with a lot of other stuff, so it's hard to isolate it. But I'm still doing bioenergetics regularly. 2 years ago, I started doing pretty much every day. I decided I was just going to start, and I've kept going since then. And it is still changing me. It's still changing me a lot. You know, I'm getting deeper inside and I'm understanding the body more as I do it. I'm understanding how the body and mind relate more as I do it. So I'm still on the journey. You know, if you're looking for quick fix, it's not really the place. But the fact is, a lot of things change. You know, you do get a lot of change quite quickly, I found. You know, a lot changed for me quite quickly. Like a time when I was doing therapy, I mean, I guess in the first few months stuff started to change. I hadn't cried for like 10 years when I started doing it, at least 10 years. And in the 5th weekend workshop, I burst into tears spontaneously. And that was a huge load off, you know. But, you know, you need 3 things to create change, in my opinion. You need every now and again to be doing workshops, like a weekend with someone who knows what they're doing. You need to develop self-awareness, so you are looking. You're interested to see, you know, where am I triggered? You know, where am I triggered? And how do I escape? You know, so you're interested to see, and then you need to develop a daily practice. You look like Freddie Mercury, okay. I think he was also from a similar racial background or something. I'm half Iranian. I don't know, I used to get Robin Williams a lot. Not recently, I guess he's died and stuff, but like, I used to get Robbie Williams. Not Robbie Williams, Robin Williams. I wouldn't have minded Robbie Williams so much. He was kind of cool and tons of women fancied him. What do you mean by the belly? How do you contact this gut? Well, hey, Howell, if you go on my website and look on my YouTube channel rather, and look for belly activation, bioenergetics belly activation, I've got some stuff there. There's one explanatory video, and a couple of workout videos where I'm using something to bring awareness deeper into the gut, into the belly. And that's a good approach for social anxiety. You're going right in. Yay, any more questions? You just get up and go for it. Yeah, do the first version. Yeah, the belly activation is probably a good idea. The second one's pretty full on, you know. It took me a while to get to the second one, really. In fact, what happened for me when I was doing the first one, often I would feel like I had this real, you know, towards the end of the first one where it's quite fast with the old, you know, it was really doing something around my neck, and sometimes I'd feel in my mind like I couldn't breathe. I was still breathing, but, you know, it's like, sorry, need to do that. I was still breathing, but there was the thought that I couldn't breathe, and maybe that was like a trace. I often used to think the cord was maybe wrapped around my neck when I came out. You know, I had most of the other traumas, so it wouldn't surprise me if I got that one first. And so it was very, very tough at first, and it was really full on, you know. And because it's a little bit like Osho, the third stage of Osho dynamic meditation towards the end, but I increase the tempo basically, so you can't avoid so much. I see people avoiding in dynamic a lot. So the version 1 is not quite so full on. That's a good one. And the second one is pretty intense. It kind of hurts at first. Yeah, it depends on the individual. Some people seem to fly with it, and some people try it once and say, there's no fucking way I'm going to do that again. You know, so it's like a little bit, it's kind of experimental. I'm bringing this activation thing in. I don't know anyone else that's really doing it. It's a little bit, it wasn't based on Osho dynamic, but some elements are similar. But, you know, so, you know, it's very, very powerful to work like this at the gut level if you stick with it. It's like the pit of the psyche. So if you really want to clear stuff out, that's the primary source. If you're still just trying to look good on the surface, you can still work there, you know. But, you know, at some point you're going to come across stuff and you're probably going to think, fuck this, I'm not facing that. But it's all in there. So it's like, you know, if you want to be the hero from classical mythology, you know, you don't need to go out into the world so much it's great to go out into the world to face yourself and find your challenges, but you could also go inside the gut and do it, you know. So, you know, you could even do that shit in prison. I haven't been in prison, but had 200 hours community service once, but I haven't been in prison, but I'm pretty sure you could do that stuff in prison, you know. So then you don't have the outside world to go and, you know, chase after women or get into stuff with your boss, you know. It's like, you know, you can still work on yourself. A mixture of both is good. Are there any specific bioexercises you recommend for health anxiety? Health anxiety? I'm not quite sure what you meaning there, Ethan. For health, I mean, they're all good for health. But the core exercises that I'm doing at the moment, essentially, are the gut, the belly activation, the bow and the arch. This teenager shoulder release is quite good for getting stuff moving in the upper body, because we hold a lot here, particularly if you work in computer, particularly if you didn't have a full childhood. Some level of leg grounding is also good, and there's a few other things you can get into. But if you explain more what you mean by health anxiety, that would be, you mean if you're worried about your health? I don't know. So if you can explain a little bit more, I will try and elaborate and give a bit of a better reply. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of, I'm enjoying doing these question and answers, and also, if you want, I'm also doing one-to-one Skype sessions. I charge £30 for 45 minutes to really help, get a next step going for people, or give them some bioenergetic advice. Just listen and see where we can move to, and having quite a bit of success with that. Yep. Bioenergetics is great if you like intense experience, hey? Yeah, I'm thinking some of the guys who came to my workshop the other day, they certainly had an intense experience. It's like, and there is, I do like to work with people who are up for the intensity, not in a mindless way, but who are willing to kind of step a little bit towards the edge. That is a good, that's an easy group of people to work with, and of course I will work with anybody, but I must admit, I learned from myself, wow, with a group of young people who are just really up for it, that's a big turn on. So if you've got a question, do go for it. I'm trying to get some more content out. I put a few things out today, but I got a kind of a backlog here somewhere of stuff to do. I want to do more on self-esteem. I want to get into self-esteem. Also, the value of laughter, understanding intuition and objectivity, which sounds a bit more of a boring subject, but is very handy if you're into therapy and you want to develop yourself. And I've been saying for fucking months I'm going to conclude this pelvis workout. I mean, all the exercises are on the site, but I didn't do it as a workout, and now I got my camera back. Hopefully I can do that. Hey Devaraj, hey Fugyu, okay. Hey, if you have any kind of question, just go for it. The other week we had some kind of chatbots coming on or something like that. I don't know how those things get on, but anyway, it's all good. Health anxiety, also known as hypochondria. Okay, physical sensation, chest tightness causes more worry than it should. Well, hypochondria, if you're getting a physical chest tightness, the basic fact is then something is, you are getting anxiety about something. And I guess I'm trying to think, I think, if you can work at a gut level, then that will help, because when you have more awareness in your belly, when you can feel more inside the belly, the whole upper body will start to relax. And this sense of being okay as you are starts to come on. It doesn't usually happen in one session. It happens over time. But it will help. And hypochondria is more a little bit a sign of suggestivity in the mind, I think, because I had a close family relative who was diagnosed a bit like that once. And that they were essentially convinced they had this or they had that, or they would only need to read about some kind of complaint and, they would figure that they've got that. And this is a kind of, I don't know, they might call it these days non-specific anxiety. But essentially, if you can, get into the gut level and work at that level, that's gonna help any level of anxiety. The thing with it is, as people are discovering, it may get worse before it gets better, because you uncovering the root of it on a physical level in the muscle system, and when you do that, some of it is going to come up. So you can find you have days when you're really clear and days when you're more anxious, and you have to stick with it. Best exercise for better confidence. One thing you can do is to look what comes up for me immediately, because I don't know a specific exercise off the top of my head to really improve your confidence. But, I'm going to say the belly thing again, because it basically gives you this feeling like you're okay as you are. previously when I was trying to be confident, it was like having to put a really strong front up, and then, and then if anything battered through it, then I would collapse completely like a deflated balloon, and then, yeah, it's not really working. So, for better confidence, great response. Thank you. Yeah, I would second the belly. Hey, but I think the great thing about this belly work is it does cause your upper body to progressively relax, and that means your mind relaxes. Something that's really useful to grasp is that the mind has taken on, the thinking mind, has taken on a lot of tasks in the area of our personality that it's not intended to do. It's not made to do those, Running our sex life from the mind is a guaranteed fucking disaster, man, if you ask me. You've got no fucking chance, It's supposed to be run from the pelvis. Yes, you need to communicate and talk, but, you can't run everything from the mind, It's not going to work. So, anything you can do to get your mind to relax, and you'll project your natural personality out more. And as your natural personality comes, you will feel good with what you're doing. And if you're really on a mission to do something big in your life, it will come naturally, more and more naturally. I don't know anything else that is giving this. You could do yoga till you're blue in the face, or go to the gym till you're blue in the face. You could do motivational workshops till you're blue in the face. And frankly, they're going to work a bit on the surface. Bioenergetics and the more body-based therapies like that, you're clearing stuff out of your body, you're bringing your natural face, your natural personality to the front. And with that, you don't need so much confidence. A bit is never a problem, and there's always challenges. But the fact is, you feel okay to be who you are in the moment, and to be with the emotional reactions that come in the moment. So it's like, it's like not, and what kind of a gift is that? It's the fucking ultimate. Otherwise, we tend to live in dreams and comparisons and trying to be someone and trying to be this person, trying to be that, and it's all kind of natural in a way. But if we can find our natural personality, for years I had a fear that my natural personality was just fucked up and bad, so that was the last thing I wanted to do. But what you realise is no one has a bad natural personality. Not even fucking Hitler or Pol Pot or something, some mass murderer or whatever. They got corrupted somewhere and fucked over, and their brain went a bit funny and they got into some big power trip. But their natural personality would not have been bad. I can guarantee it. No one born on this planet has got a bad natural personality. It's just that, a lot of stuff happens in our society. It's very, very primitive. Okay, where are we at? And, we can find our natural personality. So you recommend the stuff you showed in your belly opening video? Yes. Give that a try, and if it's too much, you can tune back in and look a little bit more. The sign of a truly confident person is they make you feel confident just by being with them. Yeah, I think there's certainly something like that, There's some people who just seem to radiate a natural self-fulfillment, and they don't need to lay any trips on anybody else, There may also be another component. My mind says there's another component. Guys like Tony Robbins, famous motivational speaker in the States, very famous. I never hung out with him, but he seemed to have something where people would just feel okay in his presence. Foam rolling, yeah, the foam roller is quite good for the belly. Yep, you can see that, and there's also the belly activation. There's two of those. The first one and the version 1.1, I think it's called. Boris Staff, hey Devaraj, can you make a daily video routine? At the minute, I'm trying to do a few a week. Some a little bit theory, interesting social stuff, and some practical stuff as well. So, one a day would be a little tricky. I've also thought about doing, because I do a lot of bio myself, putting some 1 hour sessions out, which I do in the morning, and filming them. And once I've got a decent camera set up, I'll probably do a bit more of that. So people can tune in, but of course you tune in halfway through, then it may not be so good, but you can also do them later. So I'm going to be experimenting more with YouTube Live, some 7 a.m. UK time sessions, which you can tune into then, or you can do later on in your own time. That's on the way once I get this camera thing a little bit sorted out. I'm a different person at Biodancer since doing the belly bone arch. That's nice to hear, Luigi. How do you feel yourself different? I'd be interested to hear. I know Biodancer Well, I've been out with quite a few different biodanza teachers or biodanza people for some reason. I used to fucking hate biodanza, but like, not really hate it, but actually that's not accurate. I never hated biodanza. I used to really get on my nerves some of the people that went, because the men would be so kind of airy and fluffy. They're famous for it. But the interesting thing about biodanza, of course, is a lot of women there, and then if you're more of a kind of guy type guy, then the women go for you like crazy, which pisses the airy and fluffy men off, but that never bothered me too much. But so, in terms of meeting women, biodanza was quite good for me personally. Yeah. Video of a routine that we can do daily. Well, I mean, basically, pretty much any of the routines you can do daily. At the moment, I'm actually trying to kind of get it together to teach a little bit more bioenergetics and essentially the team leader and core group programs here at Lila, which is the centre where I live and work most of the time. I'm starting to develop, in the next few months, we're going to start formatizing the bioenergetic stuff a bit more. And hopefully that will result in a book of some sort and some kind of routines that you can really work with on a progressive level. Because I know people like that stuff. I know people like that stuff. It's just that I haven't myself really got it together yet to really do that. And it takes a while for it to gel in my own mind, and then to get it out in kind of hard objective format. So when that comes, we may well develop from that within the next year or so, daily routines that really start to cover all areas of the body, because I know people like that stuff. So, there is an intention to do that, but I haven't personally got it. And I don't like to put something out till it's clear in my own mind. It's my professional kind of thing. And like a lot of this stuff, there's not many other people bringing it out. Not many people. Random reviews. You in India? No, I'm in the UK. I like India, but I'm not there right now. Relating to my last question, is it normal to experience muscle cramping with these exercises? I mean, it's not that uncommon to get some level of muscular... sometimes it's like a muscular release, like the body starts to spontaneously shake, which can freak people out. Muscle cramping. Also, working with the belly, there can be a lot of tension in there. And yes, you are opening the muscles, and you've got to do it, some people can really get in fast. And, if the reactions are a bit too strong, then lay off a little bit. Go in a bit more gently, Without seeing you, it's hard to answer exactly, but certainly what muscle cramping is. Muscle cramping is a bit of spasming in the muscles is not so unusual. The muscle system is holding a lot, of emotional caught up, repressed emotional tension all in the muscles. And so we are getting in there to clear that, and the muscles can go in funny reactions, particularly when you start, So, the guideline always for me is, if something's a bit on the edge and a bit too much, don't push too hard. Edge of a comfort zone is a natural developmental point. A lot of guys out there who follow me, they probably had a bit Sergeant Major Dad, a dad who really got on their case and pushed them. Particularly in the States, it's a very big deal. And you can internalise that as a kind of superego authority figure for your own mind and push yourself harder than you need to. You don't always need to push super hard. Sometimes you need to push a bit in bioenergetics and really stick with it. But you're developing bodily awareness over time. That's the mission. So it's not all pushing, I'm currently teaching people to teach a little bit here on the program, and some of them really like to push, and I have to, no, it's not about that. It's not about, now it's my chance to be Sergeant Major and kick everyone's ass. It's not what it's about. It's about awareness. Hopefully that's useful. Luigi, I am more in my body dancing alone and more expressive with my feelings when I'm in contact. That's great, man. That is great. I'm very happy to hear that. Cool. I don't like the way biodanza is growing. It seems to be losing its essence as it grows. I miss the old days with Niraj. Is that his name, football player? He doesn't play football. Niraj is like the I actually, but he's a mate of mine. Yeah, he looks a bit like Kevin Keegan. He's still got that kind of 70s Kevin Keegan, Leo Sayer was that pop singer's name? Haircut, He's a cool guy. He's always travelling around the world somewhere. Yeah, I don't know. I don't keep up with biodanza. I've always had this kind of love-hate relationship, living in a centre where there was a lot of biodanza going on, and often thinking it's all a bit fluffy and spacey, and no one's really present in their gut, which they generally aren't in biodanza. When it comes to doing that, they say, oh yes, we're going to do the something to get us more powerful. It'll be some visualization in their mind, and now I'm really powerful or something, Yeah, I mustn't take the piss too much. But yes, that's him. See if I've got these questions together. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not the right person to chat on about biodanza. Are you living in the UK or there? I live in the UK. Yeah, I live in the UK. I was born in the UK. I'm Anglo-Iranian, but I was born in the UK and I live here basically. It's nice to get out, and around, but I think I'm at a phase in my life when I'm really developing my work at the moment. So I want to really get that together, and I need to be based somewhere to do that. And we're developing programs here as well. And then if I can get out and about and work as I go, get some invitations to Europe or whatever to teach, I'm up for that. Yeah, the UK is not so bad. In many ways, it's got quite a liberal regime, A lot of people, we complain like fuck in the UK, British people are always complaining about something, but bloody hell, you go to France and try to do Osho stuff, man. They come with torches, like in a Frankenstein movie, and run you out of town. They're not having any weird cult-like stuff here. In the UK, it's pretty lax. It's pretty lax in the sense that we've got a very old feudal system, and the cops and the higher forces will say, look, as long as you don't cause a big drama for us, you do your thing. But if a drama comes, we're going to have to come in there, and it's fair enough. You know where you stand. I was massively anti-authoritarian as a kid. I had no positive experience of authority growing up. But then, now I cleared a lot of it out and I'm okay with it. People always honour me about the government should change or something like this. And I'm like, well, it's not, you don't know how much, it could get a lot worse, Change of government could get a lot fucking worse, People don't realise, in my experience, how much privilege you got living in the West, man. Don't realise how much you got. I travelled a fair bit and I can speak bits of a few other languages and I'm mixed race. And I think it gives me a bit of an insight somewhere into other people's lives, man. And you could be living in somewhere where it's just an utter police fucking dictatorship, and in the UK you can raise your voice and complain about stuff, and maybe something happens, maybe nothing happens, but a lot of the time people they got so much money and privilege, Yeah. Yes, we are very liberal. Yeah. Britain's got quite a liberal culture in reality, and that suits me in the sense that I'm living quite an alternative life and trying to create a coherent alternative lifestyle for people. And when we moved, I wasn't actually in the move in 2000 to this new location for Osho Centre, It's like there's always an expectation when you first move that the local people are going to come round and kind of, throw you out or something like that. So we're not having that round here, in the darkest Dorset, we're not having that round here. No, you go away back to your cities. Because they still call everything hippies here. Anything alternative is a hippie. That's Dorset. But that never happened, and we never really even did the open day thing so much or try to encourage local people to come. They're okay with it. We always employ local people for jobs that need doing. So, we're giving to the local economy, buying food and whatever. Is that your experience of Holland as well? Holland, yeah, I would not. Humaniversity moved to Holland and set up there because Varesh, its founder, basically, perceived it, I think, as a very liberal place where you could do stuff at the time. You could go around the streets smoking a load of weed, or certainly in coffee shops you could, and that was a lot more liberal than anywhere in the world at the time, in the Western world, certainly. So he set up in Holland, and they've got a pretty liberal regime there. Holland's too fucking flat for me, man, I don't know. I'm happy in the UK, and you can fly out of here pretty cheap, so UK's good for me. I'm happy I was born here and had a pretty, I had a highly traumatized life, but fuck it, it could have been a lot worse, whatever. So, I'm pretty cool with the UK these days, really. Every now and again I get in a big strop about something or other, but it blows over pretty quick. I'm going to do a couple more minutes and then I got to go, and I don't eat so much it's been so sunny, but I don't feel a huge thing of hunger. But if you've got any last minute questions, put them in now, because I'm going to sign off in about 2 or 3 minutes. It's been my pleasure to do this question and answer, and I'm very grateful to you guys for tuning in and asking a few questions. Sharing a bit of your experience is always good to hear, and I know a lot of people will watch it later on. They enjoy watching it. Of being barefoot, earthing, just wondered, what's your opinion of being barefoot? Yeah, I've met a few people who are really into that, and I think it is handy, when I'm teaching breath work, rebirthing, You know, it really takes people spaced out somewhere, and it's very good at the end to walk on the earth. You know, take your shoes off and get your feet in the earth. But I don't. And some people are really into it. I met a guy not long ago who's massively into it, and I do like it. It's lovely to walk your feet on the earth. Of course, sometimes you could tread on a bit of glass or get a bee sting or something bad could happen. You know, and it could be just bloody cold. You know, basically, I don't see it as a huge therapeutic thing, but it's certainly not a bad thing to do, I think. But I don't think it's like a big therapy. Where do you get all your amazing t-shirts? Mostly on eBay or TK Maxx. But thank you, yeah. If you know me, you know I've got quite a few t-shirts. I like that Elvis Jesus. Now this is like, these are cool guys from Shoreditch, you know. I also like Religion. They're from Shoreditch. But Elvis Jesus, there's some excellent t-shirts those guys have made. And I also just bought actually on eBay I've wanted one of these for some time. Adidas Muhammad Ali. You know, now this is like 300 quid shit, you know, if you buy it new. It's an old limited edition with samples around. It's not particularly flashy on this one, but I really like it. Well, my battery's about running out anyway. So thank you, everybody. Thank you. Bye from me and for my Adidas Muhammad Ali top, which I just got off eBay. Okay, over and out, and hope to see you guys next Tuesday, 6 o'clock. Bye for now. Cheers, guys. Yeah, all good. Keep moving forwards. Keep moving deeper. You can do it.